Hello, good evening and welcome to my humble monorail, Bedstead Junction. Tonight we're going to do another Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway session. And I make no apologies for repeating some of these locomotives. I know you probably saw them recently. And some of you may have seen my actual new locomotive, the 4F, actually out on the tracks earlier. Without the building and everything else, because I was giving it a test run and everything else and running it in. But today I received this lovely locomotive, 31881 class 4F 060 43875, BR black Ernie emblem. Okay, and it's on the tracks right now. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to bring this one out. I'm going to have a look at her now with an actual train on her, because that's what we didn't see earlier. Okay, so if we just bear with me just one moment. Oh my God, what's happening with why? Sorry about that, I just noticed a little bit of permanent way work was needed over there. Now we're just going to change the points around a little bit, and we're going to see our new locomotive. Alright, so quick change of points. And away we go. Right. Okay, coming out nice and slow. And they're getting ready to take our goods train onto the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway. This is in fact one of the 4Fs which actually were used on the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway, actually allocated to it. And it's a model by Bachmann, as you probably saw. And here it comes, it's just going to go around the track now. Now I did give this one, like I say earlier, I did film a box opening and a running session, so I'll refer you to that for any other information you want to know about the locomotive. Now, if you didn't see that one, if you were to ask me right now, would I recommend this locomotive to be added to your collection, I'd say yes. If you're either into your Midland or your Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway, and me from the West Country, Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway is always going to be of an interest, then yes, get one. Get one of these. Really nice runner. Nice model. And when it came, I mean, they did say to me there'd be one or two minor scuffs on the box, which there are. But apart from that, perfection. Absolute perfection. Lovely detailed cab on it, which again you can see in my earlier box opening and review. But tonight we're going to be doing a quick running session, and we can talk a little bit more about how these locomotives were used on the Somerset and Dorset. Now, the Somerset and Dorset was unique in many ways, and that's why the Somerset and Dorset was so popular. Now, one of the reasons for this is what happened to the Somerset and Dorset certainly after 1874, when the extension between Evercreech Junction and Bath Green Park was built and opened up. That meant then that the Midland Railway were able to run trains over their own tracks right down to Bournemouth. And certainly after 1874, then the Midland Railway certainly encouraged the S&D to push as much traffic as they could. It was very well supported. And then probably one of the other events then was in 1930, when all the stock of the Somerset and Dorset was actually locomotive stock. Certainly became the responsibility of the NMS. Now this particular 4F, like I say, 43875. So, like I say, it's a BR black with the early emblem. Trundling around the tracks there quite happily. And we'll get a chance to give you a book recommendation. This will give you great ideas about how these locomotives were actually used on the Somerset and Dorset. It's a very short book, okay, but quite inexpensive. I've seen these actually on sale on certain auction sites and things. The colour steam, the Somerset and Dorset line, R.C. Riley, Volume 2. The colour of steam. Now there on the front, you can see on the front page, you can see a Class 2P, which we'll be seeing running later on. You can see Class 2Ps, piloting Class 5s. Really, all sorts of variety of locomotives could be seen on the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway. Another picture in here. I won't show it on camera because of copyright reasons, and I think I want to encourage people to actually try and buy these books. Another photo there of a Class 4F060 assisting a 7F, which is going to be seen running tonight. So this is the sort of thing you can see in this book. Buller Pacifics, standard class locomotives, you name it, it's in this book, okay? Lovely collection of photographs taken by R.C. Riley. Now what we're putting tonight behind this 4F is a variety of traffic. I'm not sure it's kind of traffic you would have seen on the S&D. I mean, S&D would have been coal, minerals possibly, beer was another thing carried on the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway. A lot of coal because there were at least two major collieries right near the line. I think the biggest one was at Rithington. There was Norton Hill Colliery and Rithington. Rithington was the last one to close in about 1970s, I think. But here we are, is our 4F going round now, putting it its freight train. And it's putting a Dapple Saxa salt wagon, a Hornby KP Peanuts wagon, a Lima Watness beer wagon, a Dapple Feist banana wagon, an NCB Lima coal wagon, and then behind it we've actually, for the sake of tonight, we've commandeered a Great Western Railway GW brake van. But considering that the Western region of British Rail took on responsibility of the Somerset and Dorset after 1959, I think we're probably legitimate in putting one of these brake vans on. Okay. Now you can see how well this locomotive is running. No traction tires as far as I believe. Got a lovely decorated cab, which you can see in my earlier video. Absolutely wonderful model. Okay, really pleased with it. I've only had this today. It was supposed to arrive next Monday, but I actually arrived today, Thursday, the 6th of January, so it virtually took no time at all to come. So I can thank the seller for that. And it was delivered by Hermes. Absolutely fine. And we just watch it go round just for a moment, just as I look at something here. Well, the actual site I bought this from was called Auction 17. Okay, so very pleased with the service from Auction 17, who dispatched us very promptly, and also Hermes, who delivered this way ahead of time that was actually estimated. Okay, so I always give good shout outs to people. I'm going to pull this one in just a moment because I'd like to show you some of the other locomotives. Now you would have seen these on the tracks already in other videos, but we're going to give these locomotives another run again. Now this one has actually got pickups in the tender as well as the locomotive, so I think there's all the wheels have got pickups, plus I think 2 of the 3 axles have got pickups on these as well in the tender, and so it's a very, very, very good locomotive for going over points, as you will see. Okay, so let's just get back down again. Oh, excuse me. Wait. Let's watch her go round these over the junction now and into the goods shed. Really nice, really, really, really nice. Definitely one to go on my recommended list from Bachmann. Now the next locomotive we're going to see is a much older model, model-wise at least, and it's a little 060 Jinty. These were used for almost anything on the Midland Railway, certainly on the Somerset and Dorset. In this particular instance, it's going to be pulling a passenger train. I think these were used on local passenger services, and they can also be would have been used for shunting, freight, and certainly assisting freight trains over the steep gradients of the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway. And we'll just watch her go round for just a few minutes before we bring her in. We've seen this one in previous videos already, but we thought I'd include it as part of tonight's running session as well. So we're all S&D tonight. Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway. Okay, so round goes our Jinty. It's putting up, I mean, the coaches are blue. I mean, they would have been blue on the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway, but I think these probably came from the Caledonian train set. But they were what came with the train when I bought it. I got the train and the coaches all together. The train was boxed, but the coaches were not. And I'm quite happy with the train that I've got running round. I mean, it may be possible that either Hornby or Hassans might produce Somerset and Dorset coaches. In fact, the coaches in actual Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway livery are very, very hard to come by. Okay, so round we go. A lovely little engine burning, like I say, it's in the from the Hornby Railroad range. So I mean, it doesn't have a highly detailed cab or anything like that. But in many ways, I mean, these railroad locomotives, they've got the asset of playability. You know, you can get these out and run around, and you won't need to worry too much about things falling off. As a matter of fact, that all the Bachmann models I bought have all been like that too. They've all seemed quite well made as well. Okay, so this is probably putting a local service on the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway. There were quite a lot of stations on the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway between certainly either on the Bath extension and then going on. I mean, this Somerset and Dorset also, the original main line became a branch line. That was a line to Burnham-on-Sea, Highbridge and Burnham-on-Sea, and then it went from Evercleach Junction over the Mendip Hills and then down through Dorset, the Somerset and Dorset, and into Bournemouth West Station. So these lovely little engines, like I say, very, very versatile. We're going to run this lovely engine in just a moment, and again you can see what she's going to be like on points. Stop her just. It's in SDJR livery, but it's been weathered, this one. I knew it was weathered when I bought it. I think it's probably the only locomotive I've got in my whole collection that has been weathered. And I mean, I quite like it. Yeah, it's fine. Lovely. So, Quick change of points, and they'll be bringing our next locomotive into play. Okay, so away we go. Again, very, very nice on the controller, this little Hornby Jinty. Very nice indeed. There it is, putting into this passenger station there. Excellent. Now, the next locomotive we're going to be seeing go around the tracks is in Prussian blue, SDJR livery. Livery it would have had up until 1930, I believe. And it's just going to come reversing out of the station now. A Hornby one. And this, again, I think this model is from the early 2000s, if I remember rightly. And it's tender powered. So, I mean, a lot of the modern locomotives you buy today have got the actual electric motor in the loco, like this particular one here, the 7F. But this 2P, the actual motor is in the tender, okay? And as a consequence of, I don't not necessarily because it's been run a lot, but because of the time it was actually made by Hornby, it will be slightly more noisier than the other locomotives, but you'll soon find out. But that to me is not a problem. To me, it's all part of the character of the loco. And you see it's a big, beautiful Prussian blue livery. Here she comes. Just check we're in reverse. Okay, I think we need a further change of points. Just bear with me just a moment. Let's have a look. Where have we gone wrong? Sack the signalman, he's hopeless. Okay. Let's see if we can get some action now. Don't think we're quite on the track there. Just bear with me just a moment. The joy of live videoing. There we are. The front bogie wasn't quite on the track there. But you can see her going gracefully out of the station and ready to pull a Prestige Express train. Okay, so away we go now. Whoops, sorry about that. I just jarred the tripod. Please forgive me for that. It's getting quite late actually, and I should really have probably put this train set away by now, but I decided to have another running session. There we go, round she goes. In fact, I'm really enjoying this anyway, so please excuse me just jarring the tripod there. Now you can watch her go round. You can obviously hear the motor which is in the tender, and there's a lot of gearing which goes between the motor and the actual wheels which are driving it. But really a nice model. I'm quite enjoying running this one. Quite again a fairly recent purchase. Now the 2Ps were the original express engines on the Somerset and Dorset joint railway. Now the reason why that was because up to a certain point in time the Midland Railway was running a small engine policy. There's a little bit of polystyrene off the box there. No, that's better. So I can just see a little bit of polystyrene on from the box from the loco. And certainly the bridges, certainly on the branch between Mangotsfield Junction and Bath Green Park, limited the size of the trains, the weight of the locomotives they could go over there until they were actually reinforced in the 1930s. So up to the 1930s, the 2Ps were putting all of the express passenger trains. In fact, these were capable of putting 200 tons unassisted. I think was about 6 coaches. The Pines Express included a dining car as well. I do believe the Pines Express ran between Manchester and Bournemouth. Okay, so that's what we can imagine this one pulling. And if you're lucky enough to be able to get hold of a book, it's another book I happily recommend to you. There's a series of books that were blue books produced by the Somerset and Dorset Railway Trust, and in one of those it covers the memoirs and the career of Dollar Bill, one of the engine drivers on the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway. And he basically started work on the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway, I believe, in August bank holiday 1919, and he worked right the way through to the 1960s. So a long career, super book. And in the book he does actually relate to a 2P, because he describes a journey from going from Bournemouth West towards Bath, and he was actually firing a Class 2P, just like this one. Absolutely superb. What a lovely locomotive. Again, like I say, it's a Hornby one. So tonight you've seen, so far you've seen a Bachmann 4F, a Hornby Railroad Jinty, and now this lovely Prussian blue Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway by Hornby 2P. And in a minute you're going to be seeing a 7F. Okay, so these 2Ps could be seen on in the end towards the late 1950s, early 1960s. These 2Ps were actually used as pilot engines. So these would be put in front of something like a Bullet Pacific, or a standard class locomotive, or sometimes even a 7F. During the summer season, probably when steam heating wasn't so much of an issue, freight trains were used quite a lot on the Somerset and Dorset, culminating in the use of 9Fs. I do mean to get hold of a 9F in the near future, and that'll be something else we can talk about regarding its service on the Somerset and Dorset. Okay, so we're going to bring this one in just a moment, and you'll be able to see what a lovely locomotive this is going over points. Pardon me. Let me just stop at the signal now. I'll try not to kick the tripod this time. We're working in very, very restricted room here. You can see me going down the side of the layout. There's a wardrobe, I think probably less, about 2 feet or less. On the other side the gap's even less than that. No room round the back. But I mean, if some of us are working in a small room, we do need to find a way of getting our layouts out there and into operation. And sometimes we have to make certain compromises, which I don't mind making, as long as it means I can get my railway out for you to see. Now here we go. Here she comes. Perhaps you can imagine this one will come all over the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway, battled its way over the gradients between Bathwing Park and Combe Down Tunnel, and then through Radstock and up to Masbury, down through Shepton Mallet and on to Evercreech Junction, and then through the Dorset countryside to Bournemouth West. And here it is, possibly put into Bournemouth West, with a little bit of imagination, of course. There would have been the Midland Hotel nearby. Now we're going to put this into reverse now, and we're looking at our final train of the evening, which is a Bachmann. A Bachmann 7F. Again, a fairly recent purchase, and again a lovely locomotive. a 280, and they were actually produced, I think the first ones were produced about 1914 and the second batch built in the 1920s, especially to carry all the heavy freight trains over the S&D. And then for summer Saturdays, certainly after World War II, these were drafted into carrying, putting passenger trains over the Somerset and Dorset joint railways. And if I can remember rightly, they could carry 9 coaches unaided. They're probably about 250 tons, I think they were allowed to pull, possibly more, I can't remember. But no, I think it's probably about 300 tons. But they were certainly allowed to carry 9 coaches unassisted. But really on the gradients of the Somerset and Dorset joint railway, these locomotives often worked in tandem with the 4Fs or with the class 2Ps. Okay, now let's just see her pulling away now. And again, you can imagine it's pulling an express train, maybe between Bath and Bournemouth. Okay, so away we go. Now, this particular locomotive here, in fact all the locomotives, would I recommend the locomotives which I've seen tonight, all of them? Yes, they're all good locomotives in their own way. I mean this 7F is probably, I would regard it as being a kind of a premium top of the range model, okay, by Bachmann. A 280, it's got a fully detailed cab, glazed windows, you know, I mean it's got the works, okay, and a really nice runner, as you can see. On its way to, like I say, possibly on its way from Bath Green Park to Bournemouth West. Yeah, I'm just actually having a crafty look at my my book by Dick Riley, R.C. Riley. And some of the photographs in this book are quite stunning. Okay, let's say the colour scheme, if you can get it, just get it, okay? Superb. Now I'll be winding things up quite shortly now because we're running into the time limit of my camera, and as I've said before, if this camera splits the look of the actual video up into parts, it means that I've got to splice it together and render it all on using editing software. So I'm going to break things off now. Please tick the like button if you like what you see, and subscribe, and thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for your interest in, and I shall bid you farewell now, and good night.